Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 28th, 2017.
2:05 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, Trump now issues a challenge to the owners. Stand up to your own players, but you won't because you're too afraid. Is he correct? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends. Before I do that, we were scheduled to have Rand Paul on today for an exclusive newsmaker interview at 2:35. However, they had to reschedule. I think he's got a vote or something, but we will have him on Tuesday at 2:35. So my apologies to everybody. We had him booked. We promoted it. We plugged it. And at the last moment, just before the show, they said they'll reschedule and come on Tuesday. So we will have him, just not today. Also, I want everybody to please, if you can, go to WRKO.com. Brittany Jennings, our own Brittany, has written a phenomenal column on why she is no longer a Patriots fan, where she discusses why she is so disgusted by these protests by NFL players, by the Patriots in particular, of our flag, our anthem, and our country. It's up on WRKO.com. Please, I urge everybody, read it, pass it on to your friends. Okay. President Trump weighed in again. The controversy is not dying down. In fact, it is just building. Tonight, as you know, it's Thursday night football. The Green Bay Packers are going to be playing the Chicago Bears. It's normally a very heated, traditional rivalry. Well, now the Packers, led by their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who is a moonbat, a left-wing elitist, Rodgers has now come out and urged all of the Packers fans who will be at the game to join the players in linking arms to protest the national anthem. So not only are they not backing down, where we're going to see what happens tonight, but in fact, at least some teams in the NFL are escalating their campaign to protest the national anthem and the flag. And now, believe it or not, these idiots want the fans, all of them, to join them in spitting on our country, our flag, and our anthem. And so, in the wake of this, to me, shameful, disrespectful behavior, Trump has said the reason why the owners are not standing up to the players and fining them or suspending them or firing them is because deep down, they're cowards. They're afraid of their own players. Roll it, Brittany.
Well, I have so many friends that are owners, and they're in a box. I mean, I've spoken to a couple of them. They say, we are in a situation where we have to do something. I think they're afraid of their players, you want to know the truth. And I think it's disgraceful. And they've got to be tough, and they've got to be smart, because you look at the ratings are going way down. The stadiums are, I've seen a couple of stadiums over the last few weeks. They are losing. There are a lot of empty seats. I couldn't even believe it. But when it comes to the respect of our nation, when it comes to the respect of our anthem and our flag, they have no choice. You have to have people stand with respect.
He's completely right. Completely, he couldn't even be more right. He's 1,000% correct. This is not a white-black issue, black-white issue. It's not, shouldn't be a left, it is, but it shouldn't be a left-right issue, a conservative-liberal issue, a Republican-Democrat issue. That flag represents all of us. That anthem represents all of us. Our country represents all of us. If you can't stand and respect that, what can you stand and respect? That's what this is really about. It's about basic patriotic decency. And when he talks about the owners, he's calling them out, and he's 1,000% correct. Because what the owners have now cynically calculated, and remember, these are all billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires with a B. This shows you to me the character of who these people are. They have now said, well, over 70% of the players in the National Football League happen to be African American, minority. And so for them, the Black Lives Matter movement and the Colin Kaepernick-inspired protest against alleged racism and police brutality, we don't want to go against our own players. Because if we start suspending them or fining them or, God forbid, firing them, well, we're going to start knocking off our own talent. And if we start eliminating our own talent, they believe it's going to hurt the game. So they are cowering to their own players. Because they feel if they really lay down the law and really enforce codes of conduct, which, by the way, they do on every other issue, that to me is the biggest hypocrisy of all. You see, when the left says, here, the Boston Globe did an editorial just a couple days ago, okay, and it's being mouthed by the local sports media because they're all moonbats and they're all politically correct. This is about First Amendment and about the rights of freedom of speech. No, it isn't. Because the NFL itself is a private corporation, private entity. The teams are private ownership. They're private owners, and they have a right to regulate conduct on the field. So, for example, if you want to hop on the field, no. Excessive celebrating, no. Nobody says it's, suddenly freedom of speech or freedom of expression. When the players wanted to wear decals on their cleats to honor 9/11 victims on the 15th anniversary, Roger Goodell and the NFL said, "Niet. You don't have the right to freedom of speech." In the wake of the massacre of 5 police officers shot dead by a Black Lives Matter supporter in Dallas, all of the Cowboys said, we want to put stickers on our helmet to commemorate the 5 murdered officers. Roger Goodell and the NFL said, "Niet." I didn't see the Boston Globe writing op-eds or writing editorials saying, their freedom of speech, their right to self-expression, they have the right to the First Amendment. They have the right to speak. What did they say? He's an owner. These are employers. And they have the right to guide and control aspects of their conduct when they're on the job, like you and I have to. Many things I can't do on my job, even though it's technically constitutional. Who cares? I can't take a knee during my job. I can't protest any issue I want on my job. I can't. I'm paid to do a job. Do your job. You want to protest on your time and your dime? That's your business. But on the field, in uniform, like you and I in the workplace, I'm sorry. You're paid to do a job. Do it. So why are they above the law? Why are these players now all of a sudden above the rules and conduct that everybody else has to abide to? And by the way, that the NFL has enforced, if it's pro-law enforcement, if it's pro-military, if it's pro-America, no, you can't do anything on the field. But if you want to spit on our country and our flag and our anthem, go ahead. No problemo, baby. Then they're afraid because if they know if they seriously enforce the rules, many of these players are going to get fired or suspended or kicked out, and that's going to hurt the game. And in the end, let me tell you what is now being revealed for the whole world to see. These billionaire owners put profits above patriotism. They put their own bottom line above respect for our veterans, our military, our flag, or our country. They're a bunch of yellow-livered, gutless cowards. And that's why I hope that we continue to boycott the NFL. It's time these punks and ingrates be taught a lesson. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Is Trump right? Are the players running the NFL, and are the owners simply afraid to stand up to these multi-millionaire thugs? Skippy in Southie, you're up first. Go ahead, Skippy.
Jeff, in regards to, it's already on the law books, the rule books of the NFL. There was a woman that called you yesterday. I forgot what page, but she cited it. They will stand for with respect, hand over their heart, left arm, their helmet under their arm, and they will face the flag. And it's in the rule book, so Goodell's letting them break the law. They're letting them break the law. So obviously it's a concerted effort by the players in the NFL as a whole. But if I could make a comment on Fenway owner John Henry,
yes,
what's going on over there. So it's ridiculous. They're going along the same way that the people took the Charlottesville thing, I say the media, and turned Boston into Charlottesville. They're doing the same thing. Just think of what Adam Jones said. He was the offended party. He didn't say there was a barrage of fans throwing racial slurs. He said one. One out of 35,000 that were in that stadium, that park that night. So, obviously, some other fans went and got security because that guy was ejected and banned. But now you got Antifa unfurling that banner that says racism is alive and well here and in baseball. So now John Henry and the sports owners are telling those 35,000 fans who are predominantly white that they're racist.
Yes.
Well, what's the logic there? It doesn't make sense. Say I'm on the subway, Jeff, and a person of color robs me at gunpoint, and there's several other people of color there. I'm not going to tell the police, geez, everybody else there must be a robber. That'd be ridiculous.
Exactly.
So, that's
Skippy,
sold.
you are, listen, I'm telling you, there is racism in America. It's now overwhelmingly against whites. Because what they're doing, I don't even believe the N-word was said, okay, at that game with Adam Jones. Nobody heard it. Nobody taped it. Nobody testified to it. But let that go. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, some idiot said the N-word. What is the definition of racism? To smear an entire group of people, to libel them, based on the actions of a few or a stereotype. That's what racism is, at its core. So, what are they doing now? They're saying all whites are racist because of the actions of one idiot at Fenway Park. I didn't believe it happened, but let's just say it did. It's classic racism against whites. Now, what you're seeing, and I'm telling you, this is a very dangerous trend, and I'll tell you when I first noticed it. It was Duck Dynasty on, was it A&E, Brittany?
Yes.
On A&E. It was their top reality show. They were making a huge profit off of it. When one of the people on Duck Dynasty, I think the father or whoever, came out against same-sex marriage. He just said he disagreed with same-sex marriage. That's all he said. A&E was willing to let the show go, even though it was a huge ratings winner and a big revenue generator. In other words, they're willing to put ideology over money. And what you're seeing now is you're seeing a dangerous trend among these players who are in such a bubble, so disconnected from reality, that they would rather put political correctness and ideology, an anti-white, anti-American, anti-flag, pro-Black Lives Matter ideology over the interests of their fans. Even though down the road, it's going to lead, I think, potentially to the end of the NFL and the end of professional sports. Because what these arrogant ingrates don't realize, we buy the tickets. Through the nose, we pay for it. We watch the games. We buy the jerseys. We buy the merchandise. You spit on our face. In the end, the TV contracts are gone. The big revenue, gone. The ticket sales, gone. And then you're going to go broke. And you're going to have nobody to blame but yourself. Luke in Harvard. Go ahead, Luke.
Jeff, my friend, I love you in a non-sexual way, my friend.
Thank you, Luke.
Hey, Jeff, here's the thing. When it comes back to the N-word and freedom of speech, right? What is that? To say the N-word is freedom of speech, isn't it not? So here's the thing. It's extremely unfortunate that it happens, but it does, okay? But here's the other thing. Do you remember a couple of years ago there was these Baptists that were protesting these soldiers that were coming back dead in a body bag?
Yes.
And they were protesting that because they were transgender or whatever, right?
Yes, Westboro, okay. the Westboro Baptist Church.
So here's my point. My point is that although it is their freedom to do that, to protest it, right? It's just not in the right venue. Same as here. Just because you have the right to protest doesn't mean you don't have you. It doesn't mean that you're not an ass by doing it.
You nailed it. And look, you want to protest. It's your right. I said it in my column. I'll say it again. Really. You guys want to protest the national anthem? Go ahead. You want to speak out? You want to protest? You want to spit on the flag, the anthem? Go ahead. But in other words, you have the right to be offensive. But we have the right to be offended. And we have the right to speak out. Notice, they want to deny Trump his free speech rights. They want to deny our free speech rights. No. It cuts both ways, guys. So, you want to kneel? Kneel. You want to lock arms? You want to sit in the locker room? You want to disrespect the flag and the anthem? You want to boycott the anthem? You want to make your point? You want to go puh, puh, puh? Go ahead. But we have the right to boo. And we have the right to boycott. And we have the right to change the dial. That's our right. And I'm telling you, if the Packers persist tonight in trying to co-opt the fans into joining their sickening anti-American protest, you're going to see the fans of Green Bay. They are going to, it's going to be a thunderous eruption in boos. So, boys, keep it up, because you're slowly going to go right out of business. Blank off. 226 here on the great WRKO. Is President Trump correct? Are the NFL owners afraid of their own players? And that's why they will not discipline them or fine them or fire them for protesting and disrespecting the national anthem. 617-266-6868. Jim in Arlington. You're up next. Go ahead, Jim.
How are you, Jeff?
Good. How are you, Jim?
How are you, Jim? First-time caller.
Welcome, Jim. Jim, can you do me a favor? Can you lower your radio? Because I can hear it in the background.
Korean War veteran, 64 years ago.
God bless you.
And the first week I was aboard the ship in Boston, 32 sailors got blown up in an explosion in Boston, in the shipyard. And we lost 5 civilians, 37 people. And this happened in October of 53. I am so proud of those guys. And I fly the flag at a condo that I live in, and I think it's disgusting that these guys kneel and disrupt everybody in this here country. I am so proud of being a veteran, and everybody 18 years of age out of high school should go in the Marines. No other branch for 2 years. They'll either wake up, Jeff, or they will be so upset. They will never forget going in the service for 2 years, whether it's ladies or men. And that's all I have.
Jim, thank you for your service. God bless you. And to me, what they're doing is disrespecting not just our country, our flag, our anthem, but you. Veterans like you, many of whom didn't come back alive. And that's why what they're doing is so wrong and so shameful. And that's why I am calling for a boycott. And let's teach these guys a lesson once and for all. Don't spit on our flag. Paul in Sandwich. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi, Paul.
Story that'll bring this all home to a lot of your listeners. When I was in the Air Force, it's 4 years. The last year, I got a part-time job on the base I was on, demolishing barracks, and they would take all the lumber off the barracks, and these contractors would sell it as used lumber. And in the freezing cold of January, February, I went to work the first time, and the foreman directed me to work with a guy he called the Major. Well, when I went over to meet the guy, he turned around and I almost fell down. His face had been blown away completely, and the only thing left was a whole glass straw. And he had these bright blue eyes, and he had been an officer, a major in the Army. This man could not go anywhere, Jeff. He couldn't go to a football game. He couldn't go to the store because of his look. It was so stunning, and I got to know him over the course of a few months. When I see these guys disrespecting the flag, I just get sick. Thank you.
Paul, thank you, and thank you for your service. 617 266-6868. You know what? Let me change something I said earlier. There was a great caller, I think a veteran himself, who said maybe, they should go to the World War II memorial or watch an hour of what our vets did in World War II. No. They should listen to this show for 1 hour. All these players should listen to this show for 1 hour and listen to these stories from these vets who gave up everything for this country. And maybe after 1 hour, through their thick, spoiled, stupid skulls, maybe they'll realize this is the greatest country on God's green earth. Let's take it to Evan in the newsroom. Go ahead, Evan.
WRKO, the voice of Boston.
2:36 here on the great WRKO. Okay, again, my apologies, Kuhner country. This was beyond our control. We were scheduled to have Senator Rand Paul on for an exclusive newsmaker interview just before the show. As people called, said they had to reschedule. He will be on, but it'll be on Tuesday at 2:35. So, again, there will be no Rand Paul today. Very sorry. I think he had to vote or something last minute came up, but we will have him on, I promise, on Tuesday at 2:35. Please, on Facebook, let me know what questions you would like me to ask the senator, and we'll see if we can get a couple of those questions posed to him on the interview, 2:35 Tuesday. Correct, Brittany? 2:35 on Tuesday? Yep. Okay. So next week. Let me throw one more log on the fire, and then I want to go back to the blazing phone calls. 617-266-6868. And this was my big fear, and it's starting to happen. What you're seeing is now the kids, I affectionately call them, high school players, elementary school kids, are now imitating the NFL protests and the NFL kneelers. It is now starting to trickle down into our culture. So, couple stories, it's going everywhere, but let me just cite two stories. In Maine, this is out of Kittery, Maine, WHDH. Apparently, a high school soccer team is now joining in on the national anthem protests. Several members of the TRAIP, hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, TRAIP, TRAIP Academy Girls Varsity Team, they took a knee while the anthem was played before their game earlier this week. They said that they did it, what they saw, this was done on Monday. They said when they saw those more than 200 NFL players and coaches kneeling or protesting the national anthem over the weekend, they said when we saw that, we felt we had to follow their lead and their example. And this is our right, they said. It's our freedom of speech to speak out and act out in the way that we feel is appropriate. And we are now speaking out against racism, not just in sports, but in America in general. So now you have 15, 16-year-old female soccer players in high school. They are now kneeling and protesting the national anthem. Furthermore, this one is out of Florida. I could do this all day. I'm just going to use these two examples just to give you a sense of how bad this is now infecting our culture and our country. Apparently now, a Florida mother is livid because she found out that her 6-year-old son, after he saw what the players did on Sunday, kneeled during the Pledge of Allegiance at school on Monday. Not even the anthem now. Now they're kneeling during the Pledge of Allegiance. And he said it's the protest, he's 6 years old. He's 6. To protest racism, racial inequality, police brutality in America. The mother said that she did, the mother is Eugenia McDowell. She told the local ABC News affiliate that she had no idea that her son was in fact going to kneel during the Pledge of Allegiance in class. However, she is livid that the teacher apparently told the 6-year-old, please stand up. You have to respect our flag and respect the Pledge of Allegiance. And so she says she's livid because her son was, quote unquote, publicly admonished by his teacher to not kneel. And so the teacher texted the mother, informing her, I knew where he had seen it, meaning on television with the football players, but I did tell him that in the classroom, we are learning what it means to be a good citizen. We're learning about respecting the United States of America and our country's symbols and showing loyalty and patriotism, and that's what we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The mother fired back, saying that what that said to me was that him taking a knee, meaning her son, was the exact opposite. That he was being disrespectful of the country, that he was being disrespectful of the flag. And she says that that is profoundly insulting to her son, to her, and to her family. I swear. So she's the offended one. And she says she's also livid that the son claims the teacher told the little boy to stand up and to stop it. And so she says that this is insulting to her son, that her son has every right to take a knee during the Pledge of Allegiance, that she stands with her son, and that she wants other students now to follow the example set by her 6-year-old boy. Just so that you understand, a spokesman for that school district in Wiregrass Elementary School said that, first of all, the teacher never admonished the kid anything. He just said, look, please, we stand for the pledge. So please, we stand for the pledge is now basically harassment, and pretty soon they're going to accuse him of racism. Trust me, that's coming. Just give him another day or two, and this guy's going to be the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. However, I didn't know this, but in Florida, state law requires that a parent must submit a request in writing that their student be exempted from participating in the pledge. So they're basically telling the mom, if you don't want your son to participate in the pledge, doesn't have to take a knee, doesn't need to spit on the flag, but if you want him to sit down or leave the classroom or whatever, you need to advise us in advance. You didn't. Your son was in violation of codes of conduct. But hey, if the NFL players can do it, why can't 6-year-old kids do it? Let me just say this. To all of the Moonbats, are you happy now? To all of the NFL players, are you happy now? Those that protested, are you happy? You happy now? Yeah, look at the example you've set. Bravo. Honestly, bravo. Bravo. Now you have 15, 16-year-old soccer players, girls. You have 6-year-old kids openly showing contempt and hatred for our flag and our country. Great citizenship, guys. Oh, guys, you're phenomenal role models. 617-266-6868. Really, honestly, blank you. Jim in Lowell. Go ahead, Jim.
Hello.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Tired, overworked, and underappreciated as usual. Jeff, I may have told your screener that I had a little bit of a bone to pick with you. It's not against anything that you're talking about, because I agree with 999.9% of everything you say. Nobody can be actually, 1,000%, including myself. But I just, my opinion, Jeff, you're a little long-winded. You just go and go and go. You run, That's my only beef with you. Other than that, though, I agree with everything you said so far. I've listened to your show forever. I voted for Trump, and I stand for everything that you stand for voting for Trump. Okay? And we did. We took a beating, again, as usual. This tax thing, we don't know how it's going to iron out. And now all of this stuff with the NFL. And I've said it before and I say it again, they're not going to listen because they're too thick-headed. And what they're going to be waiting for is civil war. And it's coming.
I hope not, Jim. I really don't. I hope it doesn't come to that. look, they're going to listen if we scream and yell enough. And it's time that we start putting our foot down. So if they're not going to they didn't get the message last Sunday, let them get the message tonight and let them get the message this weekend. And maybe we can drill some sense into them. Ronnie in Boston. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. What the NFL fails to realize is this, Jeff. You know, when your significant other, you know, comes to you and says, you know, I remember when you always used to bring me flowers and I can't remember the last time that you did. If you bring them flowers the next day, they're only angrier and even more bummed out because they had to ask for it, so the flowers mean nothing. And that's exactly where all of us that are offended are when we read that, well, the Patriots might all stand on Sunday. Your team name is the New England Patriots, and you may all stand for the flag? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. The cat's out of the bag, Jeff. What all of us know is that at no point in NFL history has the overall quality of the league or its players ever been at a greater all-time low. Never. The quality of these men as people, they don't read, write, think, or live their life any better than a prison league football inmate. And they're going to judge us like this. So what I did was I gathered up all of my Patriot stuff, I put it in a box, and I'm mailing it to Gillette Stadium with a note that says, I'm very sorry that your team, you know, believes our country is so racist and, you know, white supremacist. So here's all my gear, and pass it along to one of these kneeling players so they can give it to a oppressed minority of their choice. Because I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, because I don't need or want this stuff anymore. Jeff, they can sit, kneel, stand, lock arms. I'm still not going to watch a single game all season, and I'm always going to remember those vets that have been calling in all show long, crying over what they've seen and what they've lost and how it makes them feel when they see these players do this. Because football might be my favorite sport, but America's my favorite country, and it's no football for me, Jeff, and God is my witness. All that stuff gets mailed out next week, and thank you for the opportunity to vent.
God bless you, Ronnie. If it comes between my sport and my country, I choose my country every time. Tom in Connecticut. Go ahead, Tom.
Good call there. Was that Ronnie?
Yes, Ronnie in Boston. Phenomenal.
What a good call that
Phenomenal.
was. Hey, I want to point out the irony here. The founder of the New England Patriots was a gentleman by the name of Billy Sullivan, okay? Back in the 60s, he founded the Patriots, and he scraped together every dime he could to start that organization. Now, that man faced a real oppression when every time he went to look for work, there was a sign in the door that said Nina, which meant, I'm sure you know, no Irish need apply. That Irishman who founded the Patriots, he faced a real oppression, unlike the mythical oppression that we're dealing with today. Dear God, thank you for doing what you do, Kuhner. You're the best.
Thank you. God bless you, and thank you for that call. Chris in Burlington. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Jeff, why don't these people, when they're protesting like this, why don't they look in the stands and see 60,000 people, 99% of them are white, and they're supporting them, and why don't they get a bunch of pictures, put them in front of these people when they're on their knees, and have all these pictures of black people that have been in the service, of black people, men and women that get their arms cut off and everything else, have these pictures facing them, and see what the hell they do then.
Chris, I love that idea. Look, I think what we need to do now, and it's every fan is going to react in their own way, but I think we need to shame them. And what Ronnie's talking about now, about sending the box with his jerseys, he's shaming them. If you're going to show pictures of wounded or disabled vets, we're going to shame them. If they kneel this Sunday, okay, boo them. Like a chorus of boos, or just walk out. I mean, I don't know, you paid a lot of money. Look, I know it's hard to make it in this state. You're getting by check. I know what it is to take a family to Gillette. Believe me, it's expensive. So it's easy to say walk out, but it's costing you $400, $500, $600. But if you can walk out, walk out. If not, a deafening chorus of boos. Shame them. Humiliate them. Tell them they're not bigger than the country. We're bigger than them. 2:55 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, two quick reminders. Number one, check out Brittany. She's got a brilliant, very moving column up why she is no longer supporting the Patriots, why she's no longer a Pats fan. It's up on WRKO.com. Also, I have a daily podcast called The Truth on Trump. It's about, what is it, Brittany, 2 minutes long? About 2 minutes long. Where can people access it? WRKO.com?
WRKO.com, and click audio on demand. Scroll down, and it's the last one. Beautiful picture of Donald Trump. It says Truth on Trump. Click there, and all of your podcasts are there. WRKO.com. Just click on audio on demand, and you'll find it. So anytime during the day, this is exclusive content for you, Kuhner Country. It costs you nothing. You can access it morning, afternoon, or night. 617-266-6868. Glenn in Carver. Go ahead, Glenn.
Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. This is going to be a little sarcastic, but there's truth to it. This goes out to all, NFL players, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. You want to desecrate the flag. You want to desecrate our anthem. You want to desecrate the history of the United States, take down buildings, do whatever. But, every person carries monetary bills in their pocket every day, coins. Why don't they desecrate that? It's stamped with every president on it, and every president, one racist after the next when you get up to $1,000 bill.
Glenn, Glenn, I love it. Oh, they're such phonies. I swear, these players are such phonies and hypocrites. Bill in Newton. Go ahead, Bill.
Jeff.
Hi.
I believe that my country sold cocaine to American citizens to finance the Contras. But if I were a football player or just a fan, I would stand up when the anthem was played. No matter what, I wouldn't bend a knee. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Bill, what you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is every country has an injustice or injustices that are done.
Right.
And just because our government has done bad things or there are injustices doesn't mean you disrespect your flag and your country.
I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater, as the cliche goes.
Bill, you know what, just to reinforce your point, let me just say your name is Bill Smith, okay? Just for the sake of argument. You go through your family lineage, I'm sure 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, you'll find somebody did something wrong. You're still proud to be Bill Smith. Well, it's the same thing with your country. No family is perfect. No country is perfect. But you should be proud of who and what you are. Because it's who you are. And that's how it is. We should be proud to be Americans. Not hate to be Americans. Sandy in New Hampshire. You're up next. Go ahead, Sandy.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
These overpaid, self-indulgent boobs need to think about things. They are living in a pre-Civil War time. No one who's alive today had anything to do with the nasty things that went on so many years ago. Secondarily, if they really want to see what horrible treatment of human beings is, let them go to Poland, to Auschwitz, to Birkenau. I was there. I saw man's inhumanity to man. These athletes, in my opinion, are as batty and misdirected as an outhouse mouse.
Sandy, very well said. Look, again, let me just, to Sandy. You know, if 200, 300, 400 years ago, you found out one of your ancestors, I don't know, enslaved somebody or murdered somebody or whatever, how is this your responsibility or your fault? Right? What would you say? Well, Jeff, that's crazy. I didn't do it. So, yes, there were injustices done. But that's 50, 60, 70 years ago. Slavery's been dead since 1865. Look, you guys are all driving fancy sports cars and being millionaires. You're living the American dream. I gotta go. Bye-bye.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.